One.
All right, guys, it's been a little bit since we've done a video on the camera, but with this example, I wanted to show you something on the calculator, so that's why I did it. So this is the last example for 412. The website Rate My Phone conducts reviews of smartphones. One aspect of the phones that is tested is the battery life. The minutes of battery life for the newest 25 phones is recorded in the table below. Draw a box plot. So basically that's called a box and whisker plot. Now, for a box and whisker plot, you need 5 things, okay? You need 5 things to be able to draw a good box and whisker. So the 5 things you need are, you need your minimum, you need Q1, which of course is the lower median. You need Q2, which is also known as the median. You need Q3, which is the upper median. And then you need your maximum. So I need those 5 things. Now, you could take all 25 of these numbers, you could put them in order from least to greatest, and if this was a non-calculator section of your test, that would be exactly what I would tell you to do. However, if it's on a calculator section of your test, or the milestone or whatever, there's a really neat feature of your calculator that can help you do this without having to go through all that process of putting them in order from least to greatest. And I'm not going to mention it in class because I'm going to figure out who actually is taking the time to bother and watch the videos. Because once you see this, you'll never want to have to do it another way again, I don't think. So, on the calculator, what we're going to do is we're going to look at this key right here that says data, okay, or data, whatever, however you pronounce it, tomato. All right, if we hit that key, you'll notice that L1 has some numbers plugged in, and 380, 530, 350, 390, blah, blah, blah. You can see I've already put a lot of them in, okay? I did that to save time. So if I scroll down, I did intentionally leave a few off so that I can show you how to plug in the last few. So down at 260, okay, so the last one I plugged in was here. So I have 730, 520, and 320 to plug back in. So 720, enter. I'm sorry, I need to fix that actually. Let's go back. 730. And that would have messed up all of my data, so you have to make very sure that you type them all in correctly and don't make any careless mistakes. All right, so now I have my 25 data entries. So now what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to hit second, the green button on your calculator, second, and I'm going to hit data again. It takes me to the stat page, okay? I have a choice, 1 variable stats or 2 variable stats. Well, if you only filled in 1 column, then you only had 1 variable. So we're dealing with 1 variable stats. And I plugged all, you have a choice here. I plugged in all my numbers into L1, and frequency, I plugged in every single number exactly 1 time, right? I just plugged in all 25 numbers. There's a way you can do something with frequency, and when that's useful, we'll get to that a little later. But for now, you just type in all the numbers, leave it on L1 and frequency of 1, and then you hit calc. And it gives you this list. And we're going to go through what a couple of things in this list mean. N is 25. That's how many terms there are. X bar is your average. So the average minutes of battery life are 420. And then we have some other stuff that is useful for certain scenarios, but doesn't really help you with what we're doing. What does help you is when you get down here to number 7. So there's your minimum, and you were given that in this calculator without having to actually do any of the work. So 250. If I keep going down, oh my gosh, there's Q1. So that's 325. If I keep going, oh my goodness, there's my median. So that is 390. Q3, 520. And believe it or not, max is last at 7:30. So I was given all 5 of the things that I needed to find, and then it goes through a couple of more things. I'm sorry, that was it. It starts back over the top. So there's some in there that you don't need, but there are a lot of them that you do, especially when you're doing a box and whisker plot. So now I'm going to use those numbers. Scroll where I can see. I'm going to use those numbers to actually draw my box and whisker plot. So box and whisker plot, you're going to start by having to draw a number line. Okay, so for our number line, we need to start counting somewhere where this is going to work. So I'm going to say, let's start at 200, and we'll go up to 700, and we'll count by 100s. So that would be 200, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, and I lied. I need to go one more because we got to cover the 730. So I need to go to 800. Okay, so you have a number line. And then what we're going to do is we're going to draw 5 vertical bars, one at each of these spots. So 250. I'm going to draw a vertical bar. Okay, the next one is 325. And of course, we're estimating here, but we get the idea. And then the next one, Q2, the median is at 390. So just in front of that 400. And then we have Q3 of 520. We have an upper max of 730. So it's way up here. All right, now, the next thing we do, you see your 5 vertical bars. Around the middle ones, around the middle 3, you're going to draw a box. Okay, and then you draw a whisker or a line out to the edges. Now, what does this thing actually mean? Okay, this represents 25% of the data, each of these 4 sections. So in other words, 25% of your data from this chart up here is between 250 and 325. If you did an order from least to greatest and you split them into 4 equal groups, you'd find that 1/4 of the numbers fall in this little window. Another 1/4 of the numbers fall in this very small window, which means all those numbers are very condensed together. Okay. And then here's the next 25%, which doesn't mean there's more numbers in that list. It just means that the numbers in that grouping are more spread out. And the most spread out section is this end, which means if you have an outlier, if you have a number that's really far away from the rest of the numbers, and if we look back up here, I would kind of want to venture to guess that that probably is my outlier. Okay, I don't see anything else even above 600. Actually, I don't see anything else above 550. So that particular cell phone just has some kind of ridiculous battery life, comparatively speaking. Okay, so if you have a really long whisker on one side, that might indicate that you have an outlier. Okay, but again, min, Q1, median, Q3, and the max. And that's how you do a box and whisker plot. All right. So if you have any questions about that or any questions about how to do it in the calculator, just feel free to ask me.